When we think of middleweight naked motorcycles, there's always a number of names which spring to mind, from Honda, KTM, Yamaha. But there's always one bike at the heart of every conversation which many believe to be the benchmark for the middleweight naked motorcycle. Greetings, welcome to the channel. I'm Eddie Set Go, and this is the Triumph Street Triple R. For the past 15 years, the Street Triple has earned its spot at the top of the roadster food chain, offering riders a level of performance and quality of finish above that of most other nakeds. Sandwiched between the A2-friendly Street Triple S and the range-topping RS sits the Triumph Street Triple R. Aimed to offer the perfect balance of power, performance and value, the Street Triple R costs almost £1,500 less than the RS, stripping away luxury items like a TFT display, higher spec Brembo brakes, bodywork panels and a few extra horsepower. Instead, the R comes equipped with a leaner setup. A 765cc inline triple engine punching out 117 brake horsepower at 12,000 RPM and 77 Nm of torque at 9,400 RPM. A conventional rider display, Brembo calipers and 310mm front discs. Riding modes, premium Showa fully adjustable suspension, an up and down quick shifter, and a quality of finish that looks and feels way beyond its value-driven selling point. Focused, precise, the R is a serious machine, and if you are looking for a performance roadster packed with the essentials, the Street Triple R should be on your shortlist. Very exhilarating sound coming from that inline triple, really. Already I feel my feet are quite high up, very perched up in a very sports bikey kind of position. Oh, this is exciting. This is exciting. Satisfying whistle coming from that triple. And this is the stock exhaust, by the way, with this Street Triple R, the stock exhaust, with an up and down quick shifter as standard. Yeah, that's quite satisfying. Yeah, the quick shift is very tactile. You can actually feel, as you stomp down and come up the box, you can actually feel that click on your toe, which is quite satisfying to feel. On the Yamaha, I couldn't really feel, changing the gears so much. It changed fantastically, but on the Street Triple, that's very exciting. So this is the 765 inline triple, which is found on the R and the RS of the street triples in the street triple range. The S has the 660cc A2 friendly engine, which is fantastic. It allows people to get on board, have their first motorcycle being a street triple, which is very exciting for them. So the R and the RS share a very similar engine. The R produces about 5 brake horsepower less than the flagship RS. I think 117 brake horsepower, producing that at about 12,000 RPM and 77 Newton meters of torque at 9,400 RPM. So on paper, what that tells me is that you have to work the street triple a little bit harder to get into that power band compared to the likes of the MT-09, which has its peak power topping out at about 10,000 RPM, a few thousand RPM lower. But that kind of tells you where the street triple comes from. It is essentially a naked Daytona. It all stems from the Daytona. It has that sports bike DNA flowing through it. And as such, you have to work the bike a little bit more like a sports bike, you know, putting it into that power band, which is quite a satisfying thing to do. Perfect your gear changes and plan ahead going into corners. You know, for the perfectionist out there, the street triple R and the RS, yeah, I think you would very much enjoy riding these machines. And so compared to the RS, the R, its power peaks a little bit lower down the rev range. Goodness me! Yeah, this is good fun. This is good fun. It is a bit bouncy, I must say. This is a little bit of a firm ride. See, the seat is quite firm. It has a very sports bikey kind of seat. You perch slightly. Your butt is a bit higher than the likes of perhaps the MT-09. They share a similar seat height of 825 millimeters. With your feet a bit higher in the pegs and a bit hunched over, you feel a bit more perched like a sports bike rider. And that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing at all. Just stomping down, clutchless up and down gear changes. Street trip. Let's bring it around. This is quite a bumpy corner. Just slow it right down. So yes, we have, in terms of the chassis, we have this, we have Showa separate function big piston 41mm front forks, fully adjustable. And we have a Showa monoshock at the back, fully adjustable for preload, rebound and compression. So this is a fully adjustable suspension setup on the R, which is, I think, more than we could all want, really. In terms of stopping power, we've got Brembo M4.32 4-pot monoblock calipers at the front, and we have a single pot Brembo at the rear. And what I do like about the street triples is they have those beautiful braided brake lines as well, nice finishing touches. You really do get a sense of yes, that thing pulls very well. With the street triples, you kind of get a bit of a slight lull. You pull the throttle and there's a little bit of a lull there. It's a bit of a calm before the storm, then all of a sudden you're gone. And you know, things start to warp by you as if like the Millennium Falcon goes into hyperspace. You know, that's kind of that lull before the storm, and then bam, off you go as the bike jumps into that power band. Yeah, I get complaints that people say this is quite a bouncy bike, but yeah, it's a little bit bouncy, but I'm not uncomfortable, really. I think anybody over 6 foot riding the street triple with the pegs being a little bit higher, you may feel a bit of discomfort after some prolonged amount of riding, but I'm 5'8" tall, and yeah, I think this is quite comfy. You can easily just stretch your legs out, can't you, on those longer rides. I think I'm following a Kawasaki here. We've got a nice quacker up front. The dash on the R, compared to the RS, the dash on the R has a much more traditional Triumph dash. We've got the LCD display, the usual tachometer with the lights kind of going up and telling you how far up the rev range you are. The RS has the all singing, all dancing TFT display, full colour, and that's probably perhaps the biggest show of cost cutting with the R is that display. I mean, after riding the MT-09 the other day, I loved the display on it, the 3.5-inch colour TFT dash, but to be honest, you know, in the short time I was riding it, I really didn't know what most of the digits and numbers on it meant unless, you get the handbook out and start going through it. Whereas you jump on the R, I think we can all appreciate straight away. We will all know exactly what we're looking at here. It's all very straightforward and self-explanatory. Sometimes simple is much better. Yeah, definitely much more a sporty riding position. If you are comparing the MT-09 and the Street Triple is definitely the sportier thoroughbred of the two. I think the MT has a much more roadster feel. I think that was always a roadster first, whereas the Street Triple has that Daytona DNA, and it's really evident as soon as you jump on this thing and wind it open. Tell you what, that's exciting going around those corners, around those bends. With the higher ground clearance, you naturally just want to kind of shift your weight slightly and stick your knee out and eat into those corners. Oh, that's very nice. Very nice experience. And so we've talked about the display. The Street Triple R comes with 3 riding modes. You get 3 riding modes to choose from: road, rain and sport. Rain mode drops the power down to about 98 brake horsepower, so it makes it a bit softer, adjusts the traction control. The bike does come with traction control. It's not lean sensitive, which is obviously the rage nowadays, isn't it? And yes, I just think that the Street Triple R, it's often overlooked in the Street Triple range, I think, in terms of, for new riders. The A2S Street Triple is the go-to option. It's now sitting one above the new Trident in terms of that performance, sporty first big bike. And then you have the RS, the flagship RS, at £10,500. And if you get that a PCP deal, it's not a lot more per month compared to the R. And I think that the RS outsells the R by about 2 to 1. So yeah, I think the R is often overlooked really, but for £9,000 or just under £9,000, you have this 765 engine, this beautiful build quality, and it really is exemplary build quality. You really do feel like you're getting value for money in terms of the finishing touches around the machine. Everything's beautiful painted finish. Even the kickstand is, that painted silver, hard-wearing silver paint with braided, brake lines. It really does exude quality. The Triumph. So we're just in 6th gear at the moment, just opening up. Yeah, lots of nice usable torque there. As I said, 77 Newton meters of torque at 9,000 RPM. So it does have a good amount of guts when you need it. I can't decide if I like these wing mirrors or not. They're very well finished. Again, the quality of just all the parts of this bike, like these are nice metal, nice brushed paint finish. The RS version comes with the bar end mirrors, and they look very trick, don't they? You see people on all social media kind of hanging them underneath, and it looks quite moody, doesn't it, and dark. The R version comes with these more traditional wing mirrors, but again, there's no plastic here. It's all very well finished. That gearbox is very smooth, and I really do like the feel you get through the boots. You can actually feel the click of the gear change, whereas with the Yamaha and even the Honda's got a very buttery smooth gear change. But with the Triumph, you get that little satisfying click on the boot, and it's quite nice to just feel that gear change. Yes, I have changed gear. Some people out buying ice cream today. My favourite is mint choc chip. Yes, it's literally cruising along here at kind of commuting speeds, going through, traffic conditions, and it's not too bad. I mean, usually I take one hand off the bar sometimes just to kind of relax the wrist, but I do feel like with the Street Triple there is a kind of a forward perch. So, yeah, it's not as comfortable. There's not as much weight on your butt compared to like the MT-09 and perhaps a KTM 890. So there is that forward focus is going to perhaps test the comfort levels I often talk about the switch gears in my videos on the motorcycles, the quality of the switch gears, the finish and how they feel. It's a good indicator as to the quality of the machine, and as usual, Triumph finish on these switch gears is fantastic. Everything feels nice and clunky. There's a satisfying clunk when you change the turn signal indicators. It's very reassuring. It all feels very well finished. Cheekily get through here. Road mode, there you go. Let's go to sport mode. There you go, we're in sport mode now. Yes, I'm just riding along. I've been on the bike for about half an hour now, and I'm already feeling a bit of pressure on the palms of the hand there. I do like that gearbox. Very nice, very smooth and very good. And the bike itself, the Street Triple, just feels light and flickable. It really, the balance of the bike is so good. So good, so agile and trick. Very good. As you would imagine with a naked such as this, just cruising along at motorway speeds here, and yeah, there is zero wind protection. There's nothing at all. It's all buffeting around my chest, my lower abdomen, my shoulders. You can feel the wind, absolutely, which isn't really a bad thing, I guess. It kind of really just reminds you of how fast you're going, so perhaps it will keep you from losing your license much quicker. So yeah, as you would expect, a naked like this, you're going to get no wind protection. There is a small, you know, kick-up visor you can get, which may do a bit of a job in terms of deflecting a bit of wind towards the helmet more and off your shoulders, but yeah, I wouldn't expect any kind of wind protection on a bike like this. And as I say, it's not really a bad thing. Let's just bring it around here. Oh, this is fun. That's a very exciting feeling. A very exciting feeling. And I say, those higher pegs, they just make you want to kind of lean over a bit more and be a bit sporty into those corners. Oh dear, what's happened? Oh no. Had an accident? Oh dear, he's had an accident there. I think he's had a blowout even. I think his rear tyre was shredded on his Duval. I feel very exposed, really. It's a very narrow bike compared to the likes of the MT-09, which has a very broad fuel tank. You're kind of sitting more in the bike with the MT. With the Street Triple, you're kind of perched more on it like a sports bike, and with no fairing, yeah, you do feel a bit more exposed. I will give it that. However, I'll say the cornering experience on this is very exciting, very addictive. So, yeah, those Brembos doing a nice job, just nice slowing things. I'm just having to grip that fuel tank a little bit. I think if I was getting one of these, I'd definitely get some tank grips, just for the legs there. Bark of that triple, really good. That traction control coming into play then. A bit of a wiggle on the back wheel. Yeah, just a bit of vibration there coming through the hands. We're sitting at about 8,000 RPM here, and yeah, there's a bit of vibration, and the wing mirrors as well are also a little bit vibey. So, I mean, if what we are in 6th gear, aren't we? So if you're doing prolonged kind of motorway riding at this kind of speed, I wonder whether that would be a comfort factor for you. There is definitely a bit of vibration coming through
on the handlebars here. But on a street triple, you know, would you be doing, you know, extra long distances on a street trip, really? I think most of us probably be using this bike for commuting and going out for a few hours blasts. So this has been an exhilarating first ride of the Triumph Street Triple R, the 2021 version of the Street Triple R. And yes, this is a very sporty roadster experience. It's got absolutely bags of power. It sits in that Goldilocks zone of, you know, sub 200 kilos plus 100 brake horsepower. A very useful amount of torque, 77 newton meters of torque at 9,000 RPM. It all translates into a bike that can really give it some grunt. You have to work it a little bit more, you know, with a little bit more finesse to get into that power band, which isn't a bad thing. You know, that just hones your skills as a rider, gets you thinking ahead and planning your next move. And this thing has a fantastic build quality. All the finishing touches around the bike really mean that you feel like you get value for money. You know, every dollar, every pound spent in getting things like braided brake hoses and Brembos and fully adjustable big piston Showas, you know, LED headlight technology. It all looks fantastic. I mean, the only cost-saving measure I would think on this bike would be, you know, that display. But again, simplicity is a good thing. It's just a question then of what type of roadster experience are you looking for. If you're looking for a more, you know, thoroughbred roadster with a bit more weight on your butt, a bit more of a commanding position with wider bars that you can throw around, perhaps the MT KTM might be a better option for you. If if you're a sports bike rider through and through and you're looking for a naked roadster option to step away from, you know, a fair sports bike, then, you know, this would definitely go to the top of your list to try. It kind of rides a bit like a sports bike. It feels like a sports bike. It's got that wonderful Street Fighter edge to it. There's really angry LED front headlights. It's so nimble and wants to throw around. You've got that this premium Pirelli Diablo Rosso tyres on it. You know, could you commute on this bike? I have absolutely no question you can commute on this bike. Easy peasy. It's so agile and it's got a nice bit of, the bars have a good nice wide lock on them, nice good turning circle on it, so you're going to be able to nip in and out of traffic quite easy on the Street Triple. Yeah, just going over those train tracks there, it wasn't that bumpy, to be honest. You know, there's not there'd be no complaints on that front. I think the only discomfort side of things at the moment, yeah, I'm perched up a little bit and there's a bit of weight on my hands, and that vibration coming through just kind of, you can feel it on your hands a little bit. Feels really planted going through corners. It really does go where you turn, where you're looking, and it doesn't have any, you know, you're not oversteering or anything, it just turns on a dime. And to top it all off, you have that wonderful whistling triple soundtrack, and that induction roar as you really go for it. It's a beautiful experience, really nice experience. I think we've got a KTM. So there you have a quick first ride and showcase of the Triumph Street Triple R for 2021. What do you think about this naked middleweight? Please drop a comment below, join the discussion. Is this bike on your radar? Are you looking for a roadster? If you have any questions, please drop them below. I'll do my very best to answer them for you in due course. So that's all from me. I do hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please give a thumbs up to support the channel. Your support is always appreciated. And if you are new around here, then please make sure to subscribe to see weekly motorcycle news, reviews and content. I've been Eddie Set Go. I hope you ride safe and stay safe. I'll see you next time.